Hey everyone, and welcome back to Taking Upstairs to Jordan. I'm your host, Jordan. And if you're new here, hi, welcome. I'm so glad you found this. And if you've been here before, hey, it's been a minute. I started this podcast as a way to inspire women everywhere to go after their dreams. And lately, I've got to be honest with you, I have not been feeling inspired at all. I wish I could blame it on the state of the world, on everything happening outside of these four walls. But the truth is, it was me. I'm ashamed to admit that I let myself lose faith in, well, me. I let fear creep back in. I let it set up camp and I let it start running things. And so today we're going to talk about it. But before we do, it's time for us to hold some space for joy. We're going to take we're going to take just a second, 30 seconds. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to count in your head for just a moment. And then I want you to think through just one moment of joy from these past couple weeks, because it's been a minute. I want you to think over these past couple weeks, something that made you laugh so hard, your stomach was hurting, made you just smirk a little bit and just like, you were like, that was good. Or just a moment of pure joy and pure happiness that you found. Maybe it was hanging out with your friends for that random Tuesday happy hour. Maybe it was seeing a butterfly because the monarchs are coming back. Maybe it was, you saw that Trump stormed off from an interview or something. Whatever it was, just find a moment of joy that you found throughout your weeks, and I want you to hold on to that for just a minute. I always like to share my moments of joy, and so for me, it was a few things over these past few weeks. It was getting to experience the first camping trip of the season, the smell of fresh air, the amount of sap that got into my dogs, but also just getting to witness my friend join the 30 Club and watching her step into everything that she's becoming. And a quieter win was realizing that I actually am starting to get a handle on my ADHD without medication. Not that that's like a huge flex, but for me, it is because I am somebody who just didn't want to go on medication specifically for my ADHD. I'm feeling a lot of joy in those ways. And so that's what's been so interesting about this way that I've been feeling, because life is always going to happen. But just taking a moment to actively seek out that joy, even if it's just a sliver of it, is sometimes the only thing that separates us from the bad days and the really dark spiral. So hold on to your joy, because we're actually really going to need it for this conversation. So as I mentioned in the beginning, over the past several weeks, I have been struggling to feel like myself. And the frustrating part is nothing was technically wrong. As I mentioned, I have been having moments of joy. I've also written and self-published a book, a whole ass book. I should be on the top of the world. And I was heading into the summer with plans, with people, with things I was looking forward to. But then this haze just rolled in and I stopped posting on social media. I started doom scrolling again. I was still showing up for people, still laughing and still cracking jokes, still going out. But there were these moments where it felt like I was watching myself from above, like I was an observer in my own life. And underneath all of that, there was somebody running their goddamn mouth. It was a mean, relentless voice. And unfortunately, it wasn't somebody else's voice this time. It was my own. And it was saying such awful things like, they know you're a fraud. You will always be that single friend. You don't deserve to be here. Just nasty, horrendous thoughts. And I'd still smile through them. I'd still laugh at the jokes. I'd still tell my own. And then I'd go home, walk my dogs, wash my face, go to bed, and I'd do it all over again. I was stuck in a hole that I had dug myself. And here's what was underneath it all. I wrote and published a book, and it is not flying off the virtual shelves the way that I dreamed it would. And instead of sitting with that disappointment like a grown, healed person would, I decided, apparently, quietly, secretly, that I was a failure. I started telling myself that no one wants to read the words that I've written, no one cares about the stories in my head, that I should just give it all up. And here's what makes me so angry with that. I thought that I'd healed this part of me, the part that thinks that if something isn't perfect, it's a failure. The all or nothing mentality I've carried most of my life. I've done the work. I've been in the rooms. I thought we were past this. But I think that's the part a lot of us don't talk about. Even when you've healed a wound, the scar is still there. And on random days, it's going to pull and tug and hurt. I've healed so much over the past few years. It's literally why I was finally able to pursue being an author at all. But healing doesn't mean the old version of you just evaporates or disappears. There are parts of you that haven't met the new you yet. And when those parts get scared, they reach for what's familiar. And for me, it's like slipping back into an old favorite hoodie. You know how you should get rid of it? You know, the one that you should like turn into a quilt or donate it or something, but it's still there in the back of the closet and it doesn't keep you warm anymore. It's also a little scratchy. It's not even who you are. It doesn't even fit correctly. And yet you still reach for it. That's what I was doing. The healed parts of me were working overtime to keep the routine going, to keep the flow I'd built for myself intact. But underneath all of that, I had gone on autopilot and fear had taken over. But then there's this other layer because it's never just one thing, is it? No, it's never. I'm at a stage in my friendships where everyone around me is building these beautiful, magnificent lives. And I'm so excited to be a part of them and get to see how they turn out. And I'm also just so genuinely proud of the lives that my friends have built. But there is this quiet, irrational voice that keeps whispering that they will eventually outgrow me. And here's the thing. This could happen. This is how friendships work. This is how relationships can go, is that some relationships do outgrow you, or you outgrow them. This voice kept saying they're moving into the next chapter and you'll be left standing there exactly where you are with nowhere to go. I'm telling you, the voice inside my head is a CUNT. Because here's the thing. I also know that even though this is technically, yes, a possibility, things have to end at some point in time. I do not believe that my friendships are going to end because of this. I know that's not true. But here's the thing about comparison, because that's what's happening here, is the little part of me, of my little brain that has decided that she needs to compare herself to the people outside of us. She's decided that she needs to do this. And she's not rational because I don't actually believe my friends have easier lives than me. And that's not what this is. What this comparison which is really saying is they figured something out that you haven't. They got some extra lesson, some secret roadmap that you somehow miss. And that's what stings. It's not even about their lives. It's about feeling like I'm behind on my own. We all build up these lives and these ideas of what our life is going to be. And I think sometimes when we do allow our fear to take over, when something that we've been working towards doesn't end up being this fantastical thing that we have wanted and dreamt of, when we realize how hard something is going to be, we can't help but compare our lives to other people's, especially if you're living, I don't want to say non-conventional because that's not entirely true, but I am not prioritizing I want a relationship, but I'm not prioritizing a relationship. I'm prioritizing my creative endeavors. And so that means that my life is 100% going to look different than my friends that are not pursuing their creative endeavors. But what ends up happening is that comparison is telling me that, well, yeah, you guys are on separate paths and that's great and everything, but they're moving ahead on their path and you are not moving ahead on your path and you are a failure. So like, how did I get here? How did I get from that haze back to this damn microphone? Honestly, I'll be honest, I finally decided to, lean on my community and say something to one of my friends, my bestie, in fact, and she reminded me that I am, in fact, that bitch. And so I got tired. I got tired of being on autopilot, tired of performing okayness while feeling stuck, tired of feeling like I was letting fear narrate my life when I'm supposed to be the one writing it. And then I also remember why I started this podcast. I started it because I believe women deserve to take up space loudly, messily, imperfectly. And if I'm going to ask you to do that, I have to be willing to do it too, even when it's uncomfortable, especially actually when it's uncomfortable. So what? The book didn't go viral. That doesn't make me a failure. It makes me a first-time author who's still building her audience. Those are two very different things. And I'm genuinely choosing to believe that I am building my audience. I also know that my friends growing doesn't mean I'm being left behind. It means I'm surrounded by people who are actually doing the damn thing. And that's the exact kind of person that I want around me while I'm building my own life. From old wounds don't mean the healing wasn't real. They just mean that you've lived through something hard enough to leave a mark. And sometimes those marks are what make the story worth telling. Honestly, do not have a tidy bow to put on this one. I'm not standing here fully healed and back to 100%. I'm standing here, well, actually, I'm sitting and choosing to show up anyway. And I think that counts. If you've been in your own haze lately, if you've been going through the motions, smiling through the noise, quietly calling yourself a failure for something that just hasn't happened yet, I want you to know that I see you. And I want you to know that showing up, even imperfectly, is still showing up. You're not behind. You are not being outgrown. You are not a fraud. You're someone who is still figuring it out. And that is damn sure more than enough. So here's what I'm asking from you this week. And yes, I'm going to ask this because community is the whole point of this thing. Drop a comment and tell me what's one thing you've been secretly calling yourself a failure for that actually just hasn't happened yet. It can be one word, it can be a whole paragraph, but let's put in the light together because these things lose their power when we say them out loud. I felt so much better when I finally started talking to my friends in my community about what was going on with me mentally. And I was embarrassed to bring it up because I thought it would make me a bad friend if I said, hey, I realized that I've been comparing myself to you. Do you know what type of friend that actually was? It was an honest one. It allowed my community to see what was going to kind of actually fully put the pieces together on what was going on with me instead of continuing to guess and kind of tiptoe around me. And so let's talk about it. And if this episode resonated with you, you know the drill. Share it with a friend who needed to hear it because I promise you, she's out there in her own haze right now. And maybe she does need the reminder that it's okay to show up even if she's not 100%. And don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, because I'm back, we've got a lot of ground to cover and you don't want to miss it. My name is Jordan. This is Taking Up Space, and I'll see you next time. Kisses!